You may not recognize the name Henry Harris, but if we add the names of Tom Slade, Westy Martin, Roy Blakely, Sam, and even their scoutmaster, Mr. Ellsworth, you probably know I'm talking about Pee Wee Harris, the comic strip character featured in Boys Life and now Scout Life magazine since 1952. Jack McKinney is a 60-year veteran of the Boy Scouts of America and a member of the National Scouting Museum Task Force. He's going to join us today and tell us more about Pee Wee Harris in this edition of Artifact of the Week.
When I was a young scout, I loved to read the great articles and stories that arrived each month in what was then Boys Life magazine. One of my favorites was the comic strip Tales about a fictional scout named Pee Wee Harris. I enjoyed Pee Wee's scouting adventures each month without knowing that he was almost as old as scouting itself. One day, while I was exploring in a used bookstore, I discovered a book written by Percy Keyes Fitzhugh about Pee Wee Harris. I learned that Mr. Fitzhugh began writing the first of 13 books featuring Pee Wee in 1922. In all, Fitzhugh wrote about 70 books with Pee Wee Harris and other scouts like Roy Blakely, Tom Slade, and Westy Martin. Each of these characters had their own series of stories. These books were originally published by Grosset and Dunlop, a company that specialized in producing books for young readers. The National Scouting Museum has a great number of Fitzhugh stories, books, and many additional scouting-based fiction books in their library.
Thanks, Jack. Pee Wee Harris started as a minor background character in other books written by Fitzhugh, and in 1922 became a lead character in the first book of the series. In fact, Pee Wee Harris addresses this in the foreword to the first book. A lot of scouts said I was put out of the Tom Slade series, and so I had to go to the Roy Blakely series. And a lot of them said I was put out of the Roy Blakely series, and that on account of that, I started a series of my own. They said I had to get the author who wrote up the Tom Slade adventures to help me out. And a lot of them said if I didn't look out, I'd be put out of this series too. In the September 1952 issue of Boys Life magazine, Pee Wee Harris debuted as a comic strip, which initially followed the adventures of the books. But over the years, changes in both the artistic style and the storylines have occurred. Westy Martin followed Pee Wee over to the comic strip, while new characters such as Sam, Chub, and Carlos were introduced in supporting roles. Storylines today have Pee Wee attempting scout skills in a humorous manner. The magazine describes Pee Wee like this: "From high adventure to cooking, nobody explores scouting like Pee Wee Harris. Join him and his friends each month in the pages of Scout Life magazine." Despite the fact Pee Wee is a fictional scout from Troop 1 in Bridgeboro, New Jersey, Pee Wee was actually based on a real person, Al Gar Bloom. His father ran a newsstand near Fitzhugh's studio in Hackensack, New Jersey. Al was a Boy Scout and would pester Fitzhugh to read copies of the manuscripts before they went to the publisher. Al served as a role model for the artwork on the cover of the first Pee Wee Harris book and was recognized in the dedication. Later, he went on to be a reporter for the Bergen Evening Record. Over the years, a number of different artists have drawn the Pee Wee Harris strip. Currently, it's Mike Adair, who has illustrated the strip since 1997. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we continue to discover more scouting history through our shared stories and artifact of the week.